They got right
live.
into it.
Yes, they did. They got right into the pit. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let's get AJ in here. Where's? You think this is going to capture?
Where's your face? Turn on your.
Maybe this is
There
going
you
to
go.
window capture. Maybe. Oh, what is he doing way up there though? That's the question. What's he doing way up there? You think? Ooh. Okay. All right.
Oh,
There he is.
new angle. You sounding better. You got your desk.
Did you move your camera so you'd be facing the right way?
No.
No. Okay. Just
No.
work. It's just working out. Okay. Let's see. Is this?
Does my frame rate look really low to you?
It looks really
Yes.
low. I can't. Is it on us? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Let me check.
Well,
on the-
okay. Well, there you just went robot voice on us.
Oh, settings and it
Oh.
started wigging out.
Let me check the room settings.
Well,
No, room
we're
settings is
fine.
okay.
You're in
Yes, yes.
Argentina, and we're fine. Like, and he's
Okay.
like,
I am in
down the
Argentina. Thank
highway.
you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yes,
dox
I'm
you.
3 minutes away from you.
Let me do something real quick here. Hang
And
on.
we're set to US
Okay,
East. I
go
suppose
pick the
we
router.
could do Central maybe.
Let
you
me
can-
restart
Yes.
Discord because I changed
no
something
problem.
on my cramp.
Yeah, no
Just
problem.
one
Take your
sec.
time. We'll be fine.
Jeff,
Yeah,
you had to embrace the East.
to embrace the East.
You had to
huh?
embrace. Yeah, you gotta embrace
Alright.
the East Coast.
All right, if you insist. All right, let's see here. Maybe lower that super high resolution there, Ash guy.
Wait,
I don't know. If
you
it
don't
would
want
make
him
much-
to. He looks beautiful. You're jealous.
Yeah,
his
Mike's just
prettiness.
mad. He's like, oh, how dare he look better?
He's molding.
But
Like the kid said.
Okay, so let's turn this back on.
You're not botting anymore, and now you're all smooth. Well. Maybe the
It's better than
exposure on your
before.
camera could be might need to be lower so that whichever way makes it.
That's a big spider.
Okay, it looks fine now, but I'll need to
Molding.
reframe you.
No molting.
I have not tweeted yet.
Molding means that you are mad and you're balding at the same time.
Oh, it's too late for me. I'm just mad.
I just have the gamer anger all the time.
Back over here.
How do you feel to being wrong,
Oh,
Chef?
how'd that get turned up? Let's see.
When I said I hope Persona
There
shows
we
up,
go.
you said keep coping.
Well, I was happy for you. I mean, you've already played all the games, right? So I
Yeah,
mean,
but I wanted to play it again. It's at
Okay.
5. I didn't play 5. I don't have a PS4.
yeah, I can play
Or
I can play
PS5.
Persona 5 on my Steam Deck using
Yeah, I know. I told
Dark
you.
Arts.
Yes.
I hope Xbox Killer shows up tonight.
Oh, please.
But I bet he takes a few weeks off before he finds some other reason to be back here.
Right.
Yeah.
Need some time to
okay.
rethink his strategy.
Yes, exactly. He'll find some other reason to be mad for sure. Okay. So I suppose that we're just going to talk about Xbox today, right? I mean, maybe the PC. I didn't watch much of the PC gaming show, but there were some.
I didn't catch it.
But there were some good trailers there, I guess.
I show you the trailers.
Yes, you did.
Important trailers.
Let me close this. I bet I can just go to like gamesbeat.com.
I know that website.
And I bet if
Never
I go
heard of it.
there, the rundown
Is that a new vertical?
pretty handy. It looks like it. Yeah, doing some stuff
They
here.
do top 10s and stuff?
Look at that. They got the freelancers on top of stuff. Mike Minotti even did work.
What?
Oh,
What?
Sounds impossible.
sounds impossible, but the evidence is before my very eyes. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they did a lot of stories. Okay, I'm going to. How was traffic today, Mike? Did you get a chance to check? Was it okay? Did you guys get any poppers? That's not the right word. Okay. Let's scroll here. Load more articles.
Any poppers?
All right.
Oh, kid, you get any of those poppers, kid?
Oh, that's right. NPD happened. Oh wait, no, this is January 18th. Why is it that the next thing it loaded? All right, well, let's scroll up here.
That's the last time you open up that site.
Yeah, this site's broken. This is a busted ass website. Okay. Well, this is stuff from earlier this week anyhow, so perfect. I had the Blicky Squire. Kaiser Focus. Such a good name. Okay. All right. So we'll get into it. We'll hop in. And maybe chat can help us out here, making sure that we're on top of everything. Let me look at one thing real quick, because YouTube is telling me that my stream settings are a little bit low, and I bet something just got reset in the process here. So let's go to 5,000 kilobits per second. All right, now it's not complaining anymore, but we're doing good. Okay, so I'll count us in. I'll hit record, and then we'll just get started. You ready, AJ?
I am ready.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb. I work at Giant Bomb, and we are going to talk about E3 2022. It's still E3 to me, damn it. Day 4? I don't know. I've lost track of the days already. I'm joined, though, by Mr. Minotti, Mr. AJ Minotti, joining me once again, picking up the slack of his just incredibly lazy brother. AJ, how are you doing?
That's exactly right. I'm doing very well, Jeff. Thank you for having me yet again.
I appreciate it. And in the background, chiming in whenever I need a little bit of help, mod extraordinaire Christian.
From downtown Argentina.
Yeah, downtown Argentina. Here. Argentina City. Okay. Well, it was Xbox Day today. It's Sunday night as we're recording this. You might be able to hear it, maybe not. I don't know. I used that Descript, AJ. That worked very well. It was
I listened to the feed today. Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, I was trying to find ways to add the audio, the intro music and outro music in Descript, but it makes that part very complicated. I was like, fuck it,
right.
I'll just output the really good sound and audio and then just do it myself in Premiere. Oh my God, there's a child behind me. Get in bed. Yeah.
Get off of Mountain Time.
So Xbox happened. That was the big thing today. There was also the PC gaming show. But I mean, the thing I think everyone's going to want to talk about is Xbox. Let's get right into it. We can go through most of what happened, but I figure maybe why don't we just start with the highlights, the high level stuff. AJ, how did you feel about it?
I mean, overall, I enjoyed the show very much. I think they did a very smart thing announcing the delays of Redfall and Starfield so long ago, relatively now, so that kind of disappointment could subside, and it just turned into like this really great show of a very smart strategy. Here's everything you're playing for the next 12 months. So, a calendar year's worth of games that you're going to be playing, and with like 3 or 4 exceptions, all of it's on Game Pass. So yeah, I thought they just really did a really good job. And kind of off of our complaint from Friday, a lot of gameplay and not much in the way of like just CG trailers, with a couple exceptions.
Yeah, they promised a lot of gameplay, and we definitely got a lot of gameplay. And I think in hindsight, looking back, I am happier with the show than like right when it ended. I think my big thing is we've been going through all of this pretend E3 2022, and I've been waiting for the game that makes me really, really get out of my seat, like really pop. We occasionally get those. I remember when Mario Strikers got announced. That was like a big one for me a few months ago, whenever that was. And there hasn't been much since then. Like it's not to say I'm not excited about these games. It's just most games, especially with this job, is that chat keeps telling me to tweet. I'm going to do it right after I get done with this.
I need to tweet too. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll tweet.
All right, perfect. It is that like I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, most of these games look good, but I kind of just need to play them to know how I really feel before I get too excited. The games that I'm looking for to like make me get out of my seat would be stuff like Banjo, maybe like a really good look at Perfect Dark, which I wasn't expecting, but something along like equivalent to that. And this Xbox show didn't have much of that. That said, like Redfall looked good, Pentiment looked good. Yes. Lots of games I want to play, and everything coming to Game Pass day one is fantastic. And then Starfield being Starfield, which I suppose we can probably just make it its own topic here in a second. But overall, it's just I'm I'm happy. Like there were so many games that do look okay. I'm ready to play them. I just wish there was like one or two surprises to really get us out of our seat. And I suppose we're not counting Hideo Kojima announcing that he's working on a game, because even if we didn't like know that was going to happen, which of course we did for some, I can't remember who leaked that.
Some Jeff Gorb.
Jeff Gorb, yes, GameSport.com went back then. There's a story there or something. But even if we didn't know that was coming, that's still like, okay, they're announcing they're working on a game. We've been through that before already with Sony. It's not that magical this time. I kind of just want to see a game. It is far off, so it's kind of like, okay, it's another one of those situations like, all right, let me see something or play something and then I'll decide.
No, Jeff, that means its presence means it'll be out in the next 12 months, right?
Maybe a trailer, like a CG trailer that's like mysterious, that has Norman Reedus in it. And Norman Reedus is like, I don't know how I got here. He's forcing me to record this. Yeah, that'll be out within 12 months. But I mean, might be like that was that's another big talking point for them for this thing. We're going to be showing a ton of stuff that's going to be out in the next 12 months. The one game that I think really stands out for some people we know is that Silk Song is apparently part of that. Silk Song showing up here. It's going to be Game Pass day one. Hollow Knight fans have been looking for this at every Nintendo Direct for like 40 years. And so, of course, Xbox got it and was able to show it off. That was a good move on their part, right?
Yes, very, very slick. I mean, I'm sure they knew that everyone was looking at like every Nintendo Direct for that reveal. So for them to have it, to say it's Game Pass day one, cloud streaming, it's going to come to everything else as well. But to have that Game Pass availability, that's big.
Absolutely. And so I kind of think that like my big takeaway from the show is that I think it's better in hindsight than how I felt like during the show. And I'm going to be playing a lot of these games, and everything going to Game Pass just guarantees that I'm going to be trying a lot of these games. And I bet there's a few on there that I maybe my eyes glazed over, that once I get a chance to download them and play them, and I will because they're on Game Pass, maybe I'll fall in love with them. Who knows? Obviously, though, the big thing was Starfield. AJ, like, what's your history with Bethesda Game Studios games, and how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, so if you know me, Skyrim is one of my like top 5 games of all time. Fallout 3 is also very high on my list of beloved games. The Elder Scrolls series in general, big fan. So I've been looking forward to this since they teased it years and years ago. So I was one of those people very disappointed that we wouldn't be playing it this year. But I really wanted to see what that gameplay looked like, and I was completely floored. People are calling it No Man's Skyrim, and I think that that's fine, but I think that's exciting because I like the idea of No Man's Sky, except how kind of empty and random it feels. So having that kind of gameplay loop, but like crafted by Bethesda, is what has me really pumped about it. I thought the ship building and space combat component was something I wasn't completely expecting to the extent they showed. I thought that looked really good and really compelling. I think it's a good way to take the building mechanics from Fallout 4 that didn't really do it for me and reinterpret those in a way that is really exciting. And also I thought the music was fantastic. I really love what they're doing with the soundtrack and like the kind of musical texture of the game so far. And again, it's just that thing now. Now it's like, oh, this is going to be Xbox and PC Game Pass. Now it's like a proper Microsoft release. It'll probably have the Play Anywhere where you can move between the platforms.
Yeah.
And then it's going to also be in cloud. So if I want to be like, hey, I can, just jump on my phone and do a mission or something like that. Like, that's so rad to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, combining the sort of just, you can jump into like a Skyrim-like game, a Bethesda Game Studios game, and just start messing around and having a good time. And then combining that with the ability to just sort of play it anywhere, whether that is on your phone or when you get the, like, on my Steam Deck, I'll just pick up my save and continue playing it on Steam or whatever, if that's possible. I'm really looking forward to that. But I just overall, I'm like, my biggest shock was like how familiar it felt. Like, this looks like a Bethesda Game Studios game. The characters are animated in the same way, where like they are picking a facial movement from a menu. They're not doing performance capture, which has sort of become like an industry standard. These are things that do not bother me really at all, but it's like, it does stand out as like, it's immediately recognizable as a Bethesda Game Studios game. And so I was seeing comments while I was streaming that we were talking over this at Giant Bomb, and some people in the chat were like, they're just using the same studio, or same engine with a new coat of paint. And I'm like, that's like the least surprising thing to me as well, that they are still using those same tools they've always been using. They are just updating it. But still, it's like, maybe it did like shake me a little bit, like, oh my God, like this just is one of those games, and just now in space. But that feels like it's really dismissive of like the possibility here, where the most fun in Skyrim, the most fun in Fallout is when you just set out on an adventure and you tell your own stories. And Todd Howard is very, very aware of this. He brings this up every time he talks about this game specifically. He's like, we make these games, we make these stories, we set up these worlds, but the game really begins once you start playing and telling your own stories and figuring out ways to use the platform we're creating to do something on your own. And as long as this game enables that and sort of feeds into that and uses all these thousands of planets or whatever to ensure that we can tell those stories and make each story feel super unique, I'm all there for it. Like I'm like, okay, once I sort of got over like, okay, this doesn't look like this doesn't look like the next gen, or like it doesn't look like the mishmash of a PlayStation 5 $250 million single player narrative game mashed together with a Bethesda Game Studio game. It just looks like a better Bethesda Game Studio game. Okay,
it's the culmination of everything that studio's been building towards.
And that's, what? Okay, now that I know that, that's fine. Now let's like get into what matters here, and that is, does this feel like the possibility space is constantly like sort of pushing against you, creating friction so that you can come up with interesting solutions, or is it going to be like the early No Man's Sky where it's like, I'm just walking forward, and the only friction I'm getting is that I'm running low on resources or running low on space, and that's it. Okay, what else is going to happen here? As long as they kind of make sure that the conflicts that you are being introduced to, and that's not just like combat, but other kinds of conflicts, as long as that stuff's interesting, I think that they're going to nail this. Of course, the game did get delayed, so obviously they feel like they're not quite there yet. But based on what I saw, I'm really hopeful.
There was some frame rate jitter that it was kind of present, and there's polishing to be done, and that's probably where they're going to be spending their time. It seems like it's probably content complete at this point. It's just going to be, they don't want to cyberpunk it. They want this game to launch as solid as possible for a Bethesda game. They want to be technically sound, and they're not going to take any chances on this.
Yeah, I'm going to try to read some of these super chats. I think I have. Oh, nope, there's one right there. Okay, so from Christopher Minotti, Ash guy, this guy. What are the chances I'll be able to play as April O'Neil instead of Mike Soares when we play Turtles together in a couple of days?
0. You can't repel horniness of that magnitude.
It's gonna be blood draw between brothers.
Oh, yeah,
I get Donatello, everyone knows that, and they're just going to have to work around it with the rest.
From Obama, who's a big fan of the show.
Good of him to tune in yet
Thank
again.
you, Obama.
Yeah, absolutely. Give our love to Michelle. Since they showed their 12 months lineup, does that mean all of those big CG trailers we saw years ago aren't till 2024? Well, I mean, yep. 12 months is until late 2023, right? I mean, so that gets us to next E3. So I wouldn't say that they're all for 2024. I bet many of them are, though. But they are in a situation where, okay, they got a couple of things. They can do Forza. They have Starfield and Redfall. That's a pretty good list of games to launch in the next 12 months. Those games should have launched during this 12 months that we're in by the end of December, but whatever. That's not happening. Whatever. Who cares? So they're going to get in the next 12 months, that's 3 big games. And then they get into next E3, and then they're going to have another 12 months to fill up with Perfect Dark, Avowed, Fable, and who knows what else. Many of those games might get to 2024, but that seems like we're talking at that point, getting pretty close to one major game per quarter, and then several smaller games filling in the months in between. I mean, by next E3, we're past the one big game per quarter thing. They might quickly be getting into one game per month cadence. Already, that's what we're looking at. Even though it feels so barren right now, and there's just no denying that, coming up pretty quickly, that's going to change for Xbox. Let's get through a couple of these more super chats, then we'll get back to the topics we were talking about. From Lachlan Ayers. Thank you, Grubb, and all the Minottis. Just wanted to say it's great to listen live from Australia for once, no matter how tired you all are. Also discovered it's impossible not to read Mike's chat in his voice perfectly.
Okay, yeah, because you got to go. Where's one of his chats? So I could give everyone a little texture. I'm worried the 1,000 planets may still sometimes feel empty and random. That's what Mike sounds like.
It's just, man, it's like he's here.
Perfect.
From Thraxmo 1.0, should Kojima have brought a JPEG to really showcase his game? I mean, yeah, I guess. But I would say,
he shouldn't have. He should, because here's the thing. So the whole thing about it is this is some revolutionary thing with cloud computing, and I still don't know what that means. But a JPEG is not going to convey that, and you need to convey that to kind of, I think, make this game hit the way it's going to. We need to understand what this cloud gaming component of it is.
Right. I hope the cloud gaming component is something like Flight Sim, where it's like bringing in the data of all of the world to simulate something. And like, if you need to play it offline for some reason, like it just fills it in with like, like dumb data or whatever. But when you're online and you can get the cloud, it's like filling it in with like live streaming cloud data using the Bing internet connected infrastructure or whatever.
Live streaming the guy from what's his name? I forgot the name of the
game.
Silent Hill guy.
Norman Reedus?
Yes, it's live streaming Norman Reedus all the time.
Yes, it's
to your eyeballs.
The cloud connected gameplay is just going to be AMC's
GoPro
The Ride.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, a live video feed of AMC's The
bike.
Ride with Norman Reedus. Yes, exactly. Just episodes of that playing in the background, and that's the next gen feature. From Viaz, hey Grubb and AJ, do you think Kojima pulled a Tarantino and removed any visual of his game to change it after the leak? No, I don't think so. This, to me, I still think, and this is just this is speculation at this point. I wish I had more insight for everybody. But I think that Overdose is something different. Because I've always heard that the cloud game was very, very early, and it's just taking shape in Kojima's brain, let alone at this point they've signed a contract. So in the contract, it will have things like genre and ideas for names and stuff like that. That stuff's always in contracts, but they also constantly renegotiate contracts. I've talked about this on Grubb Snacks before. So that stuff's malleable, but they definitely have something in writing about kind of what the idea of the game could be in a sort of vague, vaporous format. But it's still, like, in reality, the game is still so early that there's just nothing really there. And so that's why I think Overdose is something else, but maybe I'm wrong. From James Payne. Go ahead, AJ, please.
I was just going to say, I bet Overdose is like the weird pseudo sequel to Death Stranding.
I'm with you on that.
Called Death Stranding too.
Yes, I think it's probably him keeping many of that crew together, using and reusing some of their performance capture stuff, like that. It seems
and all the assets and everything.
Yeah, all the character models ready to go. Yeah, exactly. Conan and Jeff Keighley together again.
Conan ready to hold hands with Jeff Keighley.
Yes, finally.
Perfect, beautiful.
James Payne.
He's doing the same thing he did he's doing the same thing he did with Sony. He's like one day he showed up and he was like, "Hey, I'm working with Sony."
Yeah,
Peace. He didn't show anything.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's the exact same deal that he did with Sony, where except for Andrew House is not speaking Japanese perfectly and kind of freaking me out.
Crazy.
Yes, he's so good at that. James Payne, disappointed there was no Steam World at the showcase. What showcase should I expect it at? Steam World, the developer of that, Thunderful, has had games, and it's usually games that it's publishing, not necessarily developing, at a handful of other things, if that's what you're talking about. But I think the PC Gaming Show had a Thunderful game. They've been showing up here and there. I would just go to Thunderful's YouTube page and look up any trailers that they're dropping, though. Mm-hmm. Okay. So overall, though, like I'm here's the thing. I know that what's going to happen over this week is a lot of people who have like PlayStation podcast or have like favor PlayStation or whatever, they're going to be like, well, I'm just worried about Xbox. I'm just concerned about Xbox because this. And I'm at a space where like, okay, cool. Xbox doesn't have anything for me at this moment. That's fine. I got a million other things to play. Just hit me up when you've got something, and then I'll turn my Xbox back on. Or, I'll see something there when I turn my Xbox on to play NHL, which is the one game I constantly play on my Xbox right now. And that's fine. That's the relationship I'm okay having with my electronics, with my consumer electronics equipment. I think like. I mean, I suppose AJ, is that something that you share? Like, are you worried about Xbox for the rest of this year, or where are you at with it?
No, not at all. I mean, again, it's going to be a weaker year for them, no doubt, because they don't have that big
Yep.
holiday hit. But I mean, they have a couple things that kind of keep interest that'll hopefully keep people subscribed to Game Pass. We have the Overwatch 2 open beta, which sounds like it's going to be console exclusive, like the launch of the beta to Xbox
Oh, interesting.
and PC. I mean, I'm not. I'm still. I tried reading this around. I couldn't find an indication that it was coming to PlayStation to start. I'm not sure what's going on there. While it's in the beta phase, there's things like the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC, which is like the sequel to the really popular DLC from Horizon 3. And then again, like there's a lot of cool games. Just because they're not like huge, big AAA games doesn't mean a game like Pentiment or the 1.0 release of Grounded and stuff like that can't kind of help them carry some time in the holiday until we get to 2023 and these delayed games and bigger games start coming out. So it's not like they have nothing. Just they're not gonna have something to compete with God of War, and Sony didn't have anything to compete with Halo last year. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
I'll say that I think the one fair criticism for people who are tight on money and rush to get an Xbox, and specifically went with Xbox Series X instead of Xbox Series S, is that I still think nothing in that showcase really was like just groundbreakingly beautiful. Like there was nothing with just this is the best graphics in the world that I've ever seen. There was a lot of
there was one
games.
thing. There was one thing.
Please. What?
That was Forza. I thought the Forza trailer was jaw-droppingly stunning. I couldn't believe how good that looked. I think it's the first time we've seen a console game with ray tracing turned on, running at 4K 60, and I thought it just looked good.
And they what they do is they stop the camera and they go through the brush, and I completely agree with you. When they do that stuff, it is wow. I think the trouble there is when you're playing that game, you're never ever going to do that. And so like there are games where you do slowly move through the brush next to the side of the road as a character, and then those graphics really, really stand out when you're playing the game. Forza's game that's like, it's looked gorgeous, and now it just looks so realistic now at this point. And you're absolutely right. That is a gorgeous game that is good. That is a showpiece for the console. But it's also the kind of thing where it's like, I think many people are going to look at it and be like, well, we've seen it before. Forza Horizon 5 came out last year and was also show-stoppingly beautiful. I mean, I remember it was literally show-stopping beautiful for me, because I was like watching those GIFs of Mexico in Forza Horizon 5 and just being like, I can't believe how good this looks. So it's like,
but I thought even like after seeing the Forza Motorsport trailer, and then they later in the show had the Hot Wheels trailer, I was like, oh yeah, this doesn't look as good anymore.
Yep.
Like all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're definitely right. But it's diminishing returns. It happens.
Oh, sure.
And this is again another thing that I'm personally okay with. But I think if someone is kind of like scratching their head about that $500 purchase and is looking to justify it to themselves, I think I can sort of sympathize with that. But also at the same time, it's like, okay, but if you are just trying to have fun and trying to play a lot of games, this show delivered that. I think almost certainly, like everything on Game Pass day one, and many games on Game Pass day one. That is, I mean, not just many, but like the vast majority of things that they showed. That's a winning strategy. It continues to be a winning strategy. It's the reason that they keep doing it. It's because it works. And we come out of this and we say, oh well, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and continues to be hard to argue with that.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Dax in the chat did say that for Overwatch 2 is coming to PlayStation and Switch at the same time. So thank you for clearing that up.
Were you surprised to see Diablo 4?
I was surprised to see it. I mean, the Blizzard presence in general was kind of surprising to me, because we know the deal is ongoing; it's not done yet. But I was very excited to see Diablo 4, which, as Mike pointed out on Twitter in a text to Chris and I, it sure does make Diablo Immortal suddenly look a lot more like a mobile game than it did, an hour before that.
Yes.
But I thought it was a really cool reveal. I'm pretty stoked about the Necromancer being in the game. And just that extended look at the game, it just looks so good. I played it back at BlizzCon 2019, and it was super solid playing back then as far as the game feel. And I'm just ready for it to be here. So it's cool that we know it's going to be out in the next 12 months. We know it's going to have cross play and cross progression across all platforms, which is super cool. And then it does make you wonder in the back of your head, they couldn't say anything now, but assuming that the deal closes before this comes out, does this just become a Game Pass game? Because that would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like they're trying to do everything they can, like with this Activision partnership, which many of these Activision partnerships were in place before the deal happened. So obviously, I think they feel like they can elaborate on them because a lot of that stuff was already in place, and Activision was, already comfortable doing that. So it wouldn't be like a change in direction because of the deal. I had heard like actually right before I left Colorado, I heard that Diablo 4 people would be playing that game later this year. Not that it would be out, but people would be playing it. And the beta
went live yesterday. Yeah,
beta's coming out. Did they give a date for it? They just say it's like spring next year or something like that.
For the game itself, they just said 2023.
2023. Okay. Well, we know it's before summer or by summer, right? Because within the next 12 months.
That drops like in May. That'd be awesome.
I think that game just looks phenomenal. Hey, we got one from Mike Minotti, who says no one versus 100 007 Xbox dying Jeff, you shill, exposed clown face emoji.
He got you. He got you good.
Nailed me 100%. Yeah. But we also this just my heart is warming up. From Xbox will always be number 3, showing up. Grubb coping for another year of no games. Cry face emoji. Boss Phil telling Xbox for another year to wait for next year for games. Where are the games? Cry face emoji. I just want to translate here for my good friend Xbox will always be number 3. Saying Xbox will always be number 3 was wrong. Jeff Grubb was right. Kojima working with Xbox on an exclusive. Yep. Thank you so much for the apology. Xbox will always be number 3. That means so much to me.
Very big of you.
It was very moving. From Div and Greedy, if you choose one between Cocoon and Pentiment, which would it be? I'm going with Pentiment.
I don't have to choose. They're both day one on Game Pass.
I gotta check out. Cocoon. I do remember being the Cocoon looks good, but I think I need to remind myself exactly. Oh yeah, the Cocoon's the one where it's diving into various layers. So it's we got to go deeper.
Cocoon looked like it might be doing the kind of pseudo SSD fast loading trickery of Ratchet and Clank, where it looked like it was every time you went to those orbs, it was loading in a new level.
Yeah, it's the wow sound effect from what's that movie?
Inception.
Inception. Yes,
that's right.
Yes, the wow sound effect from Inception. The game. I'm down. I'll play that. Derek, do you think Xbox Killer actually likes PlayStation or just hates Xbox?
He just loved us.
I don't think he plays video games. I think he just hates Xbox.
Yes, I think he loves us and hates himself, and this is how he. Yes. And listen,
it's really tragic when you think about it.
We would love to teach you to hate yourself. We would love to teach you to love yourself, but also we still want your money. So we'll figure some out. We'll figure out some deal here.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, yeah, okay. Xbox will always be number 3. Xbox capping for Trader Kojima coming 2027. Cry face emoji, cry face emoji, cry face emoji. The Trader Kojima.
There's already, I saw, was it you who retweeted the petition to have the game canceled?
That came out last year after one of my stories.
1,500 signatures. Oh, good Lord.
I signed it. I signed it yesterday. I signed it. Demi Crow says, do you think Microsoft paid for Persona, or is it Atlas being, they obviously paid for it because it's Game Pass, but is
the rumor was that they were really going for this. This is something they wanted to pull off, and it is pretty cool. It's I guess people are upset that it's Persona 3 portable and not FES, but otherwise
who cares?
Very rad. You're gonna get to play these games again, PC, cloud.
Right, if you really want to play Fez, right? Games. Or is it Persona 4 Golden?
Fez and Persona 3 portable.
Persona 4 Golden. There's Persona 3 portable and then Persona 3 Fez. Mike could correct me in the chat. I think it would have been better if it was Fez, but portable's not bad.
It's a heated argument on the community because Persona 3 portable lets you play as a girl. It's a different girl and it has more stuff. But Persona 3 Fest has the 3D running around the town aspect.
Minotti says portable better, and I think that's what you're explaining.
Well, Mike is one of yes, a portable is better.
When he says portable
you
better,
lose the 3D-ness of it, like the environment of like going to store, and you get like menus instead.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's better because you have more stuff to do.
Okay.
Portable than
Good.
Real quick, let me finish Demi Crow's super chases. Or is it Atlas being adventurous with their games and other platforms? Atlas is never going to be adventurous. That's just not going to happen.
It's still, I was really honestly surprised. I was like, oh, I'm sure like when this show's done, we're going to look and it's like, oh, this is also coming to Switch. No.
I lost my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
From Daniel Kumba. He definitely likes hating Xbox. I mean, this is his hobby, is hating Xbox, 100%. From Victor Alistine, great sum up. The show was good, not the showstopper many expected, but I think it highlights what many of the billion would subscribe for, right? Like, I think if you are looking this at a show as someone who's like trying to feel very good about spending $500 on the Xbox Series X, I think the show is maybe disappointing. I think if you're looking at someone who is like already has an Xbox Series X and you're not worried about that sunk cost fallacy, and instead you're like, okay, should I be excited to continue subscribing to Game Pass? It's a very convincing argument for that. And I think that is their bigger concern because they continue selling out of every Xbox Series X they make. Xbox Series S is selling very well. So their problem is making sure that they are growing Xbox Game Pass, and that doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem based on that show. I agree with Lolzor in chat. So the troll Mike Minotti earlier said that no 007, and this is something last night, MVG pointed out, and I was like, as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh, he is almost certainly right. August is that game's anniversary. It's going to be its 25th anniversary, I believe. Yeah, that sounds right. And then that would give it a chance for maybe Nintendo to announce it first. So I think that we're probably going to hear about that game in August. I wish we would have saw it at the show. It would have been cool. But you guys see the PC gaming show that had Agent 64? We watched that in our Giant Bomb Summer Game Mess Theater trailer roundup. And that is just a GoldenEye sort of sequel that looks just like GoldenEye and has a level editor and stuff. It looks fantastic. So I was very into that. Yeah, Mike, I'm with you. I think the Xbox killer thing is genuinely a bit. The magic is starting to be broken for me a little bit. Okay, let's see here.
Keeps paying.
Exactly, you're right. Xbox will always be number 3. Change console name to the Xbox Series L. No games. Cry face emoji. Cry face emoji. Cry face emoji. From Div and Greedy, do you guys think they're going to stick with 12 months format for later years too? I think they will switch up the format however best fits what they have. I think here's what's coming in the next 12 months format worked very well for them this year because it enabled them to like show off a ton of games that sort of justify Game Pass right now-ish, and then also enabled them to not worry about rushing out updates for games that need more time. And we've been saying for a while, Hellblade, no way this year. Avowed, Perfect Dark, no way on so many of these games. And now we know for sure it's like, okay, they pushed back Starfield and Redfall and now Forza, and those games are going to be their first half of next year. And that means now there's a lot of possibility for the second half of 2023 and then onward. But by next E3, I think the next 12 months makes sense again next year. But then after that, once we start getting a lot of these games they've announced and then released, once they need to reload a bunch of excitement, I think, the E3 2023 or whatever, 2024, will probably be like, oh, and here's what's coming 2-3 years down the line. That could happen again. Okay, we're caught up with super chats. I mean, so AJ, you said you're not worried about, Xbox for this year. There are some things that you're interested in playing. I think that this continues to be the beauty of Game Pass. You'll check in on some of these games as they come out. I mean, I'm almost at a point where I'm like, go ahead.
Oh, good. No, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I will be like, at this point, sort of just sitting back, and like I said, I'm gonna go play my Steam Deck. I've picked up my Switch a lot this week because of Mario Strikers, and I found that, Mike, we can say that we're playing Turtles. We just can't say anything else. I've been playing Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and I've been playing Mario Strikers, and so I'm picking up my Switch. And when an Xbox Game Pass game comes out, I know that 1 million people are going to try it, and if it's good, I'll hear about it, and then I'll just go check in then. And I am completely fine with my relationship with that being that. And so I'm just going to wait, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, and I'm not worried at all about it. So what were you going to say, AJ?
One of the, I think, more surprising announcements was the Riot Games collaboration.
Yes, that very
just
interesting.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting for a few reasons. First of all, it's not like just PC Game Pass, just Game Pass Ultimate. Any Game Pass subscription is going to get you access to all these different game unlocks they showed. So, I mean, I know people who would pay that money to subscribe just to unlock like every hero in League of Legends Wild Rift or something, because that's hundreds of dollars worth of microtransactions. So that's kind of a crazy value add. Getting all the operators in Valorant, getting whatever they're called, team fight tactics and stuff. Like, I mean, it's a huge value add for any level of Game Pass. The only thing I think is weird is that they announced it like, yeah, that we're gonna flip the switch, give you all this stuff. Like, oh, cool, we're gonna flip the switch. And like, well, we're gonna flip it at the end of the year. Oh, you want to flip it now? No, we're not gonna flip it now. Well, I'm not gonna buy anything, so I guess I'll see
good
you
point.
in 6
Weird.
months.
Yeah, that's stupid. But I mean, I guess they're gonna announce it. Yeah, just do it now, right? I mean, that's just the lawyers, right? The lawyers are just saying, well, we'll figure out the exact details between now and then, and work on the specifics of the tech and stuff. But I guess we could tell people about it now. Yeah, that's frustrating. All right, Mike Minotti reminded me that he has a voicemail that he sent in, so I'm gonna try to download that.
You have it ready to play. Otherwise, I can just hold my phone up to my microphone.
Well, I got it right now. I'll get it working. But AJ, while I get this, can you maybe read some of the super chats if you can check them out in chat?
Yeah, let's see. I think the only one we got since then is Scratty Bones. Says don't forget Mike's voicemail. So go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right,
Vamp.
All right, I am opening up. Let's see.
I got excited when the Riot guy showed up because I thought they were going to talk about the fighting game they have.
Yeah, that's true. I just thought it was going to be like stuff like Valorant and even League of Legends Wild Rift coming to Xbox, which was not part of this. That would have been kind of cool. Wild Rift particularly, I think, would be really cool to have on console because it's pretty solid on mobile. It doesn't have controller support on mobile, which I wish it did, just because it'd be a little more comfortable to play like a 30-minute game holding a controller for it instead of just the phone. But it was cool.
You can hack your way into using a controller, pretty sure.
No, iPhone.
All right, I'm almost ready. Do you guys want to hear him? You guys want to hear?
You ready?
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Let me go say system, and then I'm going to play that on the broadcast stream mic. You guys should.
That is dead.
Okay, sorry. AJ, can you hear this?
AJ, hi Jeff. This is
I hear it.
We can hear this.
Okay, all right. I'm going to try to turn it up. Okay, I'm going to play, and hopefully everyone can hear it just fine.
Hi AJ, hi Jeff. This is Mike calling in from LAX. Just got finished covering the show over at the food court. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good, right? 90 minutes is still maybe a little long for my taste. There's a middle section there that was a little middling, which is maybe why they put it in the middle section. Like a picture of Vin Diesel as a dinosaur man, stuff like that. But mostly it was pretty cool. Starfield obviously looks great. There's still some Bethesda-ness to it. Like humans look better, but they still kind of wobble their heads and move their lips in a weird Bethesda way. But whatever. So much of the game looks cool, especially the spaceship stuff. I'm really into the spaceship stuff. That's what has me excited for that one. So that game looks like it's going to be a massive, big deal. We finally got Hollow Knight showed up. We didn't even get a release date, except I guess we know that's coming out before June 2023, because that's their whole thing, right? Everything's coming out within the next year, not this year, like the next year. So there's something for that one. That whole thing was kind of smart because it makes you feel like, yeah, maybe we're not getting much in 2022, but hey, like not too long after that, look at all these things you're gonna be playing, like Redfall and like Starfield and like Hollow Knight. And the Persona games, that was a cool announcement too. Another good little Game Pass to get there. Maybe I'll turn you two into weebs yet. Kojima showed up literally just to make Jeff feel better. I think he actually felt sorry for Jeff Grubb and all the abuse he was getting from Xbot Killer / PlayStation Slave 2.0 / Xbox's third place or whatever it was. So he just wanted to throw Jeff a bone there and just literally say, Jeff Grubb's rumor is true.
I think
that's what the translation said. So good on that. What's interesting is, it was a good show, even though there was some stuff we were expecting or was rumored that didn't show up there. I'm shocked GoldenEye wasn't there. Maybe that has to happen at something with Nintendo, but I thought that was going to happen. I thought 1 versus 100. Maybe I kind of feel silly buying into all this Banjo-Kazooie hype now, to be honest. Even, Jeff, we have been always skeptical of that one, and everyone else seemed to buy into it. Maybe it's happening. And look, if it is happening...
Hang on, I'm going to pause real quick. There's a little bit more, but I'll just say that I'm with Mike where it's like, that is one we're always skeptical of. It's hard to figure out who would make it. I think even the rumors aren't sure who would make it, just that the project got greenlit. But maybe it is happening. I am hopeful. I think they know that they need something like Banjo. It takes a long time to make something like equivalent to The Last of Us. It might take a little bit less time and money to make something that is like Ratchet, and I think they know they could probably put something like that out and feel pretty good about it. Yeah. Let's hear the rest of Mike's thing.
And it wouldn't be here because again, they said they're showing games that are coming out within the next 12 months, and that certainly isn't. And that's why I didn't mind not seeing Avowed, not seeing Perfect Dark, and a lot of these other kind of far out games. And again, the showcase was good, even though they didn't really, announce a whole lot of new things. They announced some smaller things like that, like Middle Ages Obsidian thingy, right? And that, looks like it's cute. There's Cocoon, the new game from the Inside / Limbo people, and that looks good. It's really now that I'm here thinking about it, I'm almost like, wait, was the show that good? No, I know I was enjoying it. There was fun stuff. So, that just goes to show how important pacing is, I guess, right? And Diablo 4 is looking very good. That was another one for me. I'm really into the Necromancer, how that is looking there. Even just Overwatch 2 showing up in some way was kind of surprising, even though I probably should have guessed that because they already had that open beta, so of course they're probably going to do early access soon. But yeah, I thought it was a good show. I did enjoy it. I bet I like it a little bit less than AJ because, of course, but I still thought it was a very good effort, especially for the situation where Microsoft is in, right? For the next 6 months, they don't really have much. And being able to do a show without having to go too, further out than the first half of 2023, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty impressive. So good on them. I hope you guys have a good show. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Love you.
Love you, Mike Minotti. Thank you so much for your insights. Your Los Angeles man insights. He was in LA for a couple of days. He already turned into a real schmuck. He's a real piece of work now. Being just kind of broy. It's disgusting. He got a tattoo. He got a tan. He wears sunglasses inside now. It's awful.
Call me Mike Hollywood.
NFTs. It's terrible.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, I tend to agree with most of what Mike said. I think that kind of looking at it now, and like chat's like saying, hey, where was Avowed? I think they were happy to not talk about Avowed because, hey, we could talk about games that are just coming in the next year, and that gives us a chance to really just focus on the big three, and then a bunch of extra stuff alongside of those. So Redfall, Starfield, and Forza. And that was supposed to be the big three for this year, but that didn't work out. So they focused on those again, and they never really have shown any of those games in any detail. So this gave them a chance to showcase those and say, okay, since those are all getting delayed into 2023, let's just move the marketing backward for everything. And if we have an Avowed asset, we could just wait, and maybe something like that shows up at the Game Awards or something like that. That makes sense because then we're going to be much closer to Forza coming out. They're not going to show another trailer for Forza. They might show another gameplay snippet, but it's not going to be a big major reveal at the Game Awards at that point. It'd be like, oh, here's the car on stage with Jeff Keighley, and then here is something new about the game or whatever. But that's not going to be like it was at E3. So that at that point they would probably be ready to show more from some of these other games. And then as we get later in the year, obviously next E3 is going to be, I think it's going to be kind of similar to what we've had in this past year, where Microsoft's going to go pretty quiet now for another year, talk about the few games that we know about, and then next E3 they come out with another pretty, full show like they had this year. I'll say that I think overall I felt last year's show was probably a little bit better than this one. I think that again, it's just not a lot of wow factor in this one for me, but overall, I don't know. It did what it needed to do for Game Pass. From iCallum17X with a super chat, Jeff, have you heard any Yakuza 8 news? No, and I think that's just that team does work fast, but also they lost some major creative leads have moved on, and that doesn't mean that there weren't people ready to fill in those slots right away. I think there definitely was. I think that team has had a lot of time to sort of mentor the next generation to take over that franchise. I expect we'll hear about Yakuza 8 soonish, but it's still a little early, even for a team that works as fast as that. Okay, so any other thoughts on Xbox, or should we talk about maybe the one other topic I wanted to mention before we get out of here?
I think we can move on.
Okay, yeah, that Justin Roiland game did not work for me, and you know what it was, and I talked about. Well, his voice for I Rick and Morty is I think it has really smart writing. I think that it's that's what's his name. I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna
Harmon. That's all Dan Harmon.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to pretend like I know exactly the way that it breaks down and deny Justin Roiland the credit that he might or might not deserve. Whatever. But point is that when I see that game, it's trying to have an attitude, and that attitude doesn't work because there's another game called Angerfoot. That is just like. It is nailing that irreverent style perfectly, and the action matches the attitude and stuff like that, and it's so well done. And then this Squanch Games, this what is it even called? I just know it does the Justin Roiland game.
High on Life, right?
The name
and I was getting weird Oddworld Stranger's Wrath vibes.
Me too.
I guess because of the living weapons.
Right, the living weapons, exactly. Yes, but whatever. It didn't work for me. Okay, so it is Sunday, June 12th, 2022, and we don't know when we're going to hear from Nintendo. Ash Guy, do you think that tomorrow we wake up Monday and Nintendo has announced that it's doing something this week?
Based on my many, many industry sources, of which there are zero. I actually don't. I think they don't have any need to do anything right now. We know what their big releases are pretty much for the rest of the year. I mean, the only things they could do at this point is show more Splatoon, show more Xenoblade, and stuff like that. Maybe the surprises could be the Metroid Prime remaster, or even just the Zelda, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess collection coming to Switch. I mean, the only big thing they could do is have a new Breath of the Wild trailer, and I don't think they're ready to do that yet. So unless they have some weird commitments to third parties that they really want to hit, I don't think they have a need. If especially with this kind of thing about GoldenEye's anniversary being in August, I mean, maybe that's when they do the next show, because Splatoon will be about to come out. It'll be a little closer to the holiday. They could just wait.
Yeah, I think what I was leading into, and I'm seeing people in chat now saying the same thing. This news must be getting around. The thing that I'm hearing also is that they're not doing one this week. There's not anything from Nintendo happening this week, at least not anything major. I was hearing into this month. It sounds like that's what Nate's hearing as well. And then Alana Pierce is saying June 29th specifically, which is not exactly how it was phrased to me. I heard at the end of this month, but June 29th probably is like. Let's see. Let me look.
It's Wednesday.
It's Sunday?
It's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And that's when they like to do things, because it's the middle of the week. They have different time zones. Wednesdays and Thursdays are usually when they like to do stuff. That sounds right. That sounds fair. So I think that we could probably expect that to. My big question is, you're like, then what does show up? I still think we probably actually don't get more from Zelda quite yet. I think they do a Zelda Direct specifically here in a couple of months, right? and then or maybe that's why they're waiting so they can talk about it. I don't know, but oh, Nate said the 28th or the 29th. Okay, yeah, I was hearing the end of the month. Okay, well, that gives me more faith in like what I'm hearing than if all these other people are hearing it as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of a little bit bummed we're gonna have to wait for Nintendo, but that's better than them not doing one at all and not like and just sort of letting this Summer Game Fest fizzle out and go by without getting any word from them. And I suppose that at that point it's just the Summer Game Mess because Summer Game Fest will be long over. Okay, I think we kind of hit everything. Was there any did you get a chance to check out any other trailers that you were excited about, or were you just watching Xbox today?
I was pretty much just watching Xbox today. I didn't have I was with the kids all afternoon. So
yeah, I didn't get
to pick up the PC gaming show or anything like that.
Yeah, I saw a few things from the PC gaming show. I think I just put them directly, so I didn't put them in my list here. But there were a handful of good things. What was that? Oh, well, yeah,
Lucky Squire.
Lucky Squire from Devolver Digital is just
we talked about that on Friday. That looks great.
That's probably one of my games of the show for sure. Where it's just like, okay, that immediately captures my imagination.
So Jeff, let me ask you this now, as this whole kind of deluge winds down. I know it's not E3. There's not an E3 show floor, but doesn't it just kind of feel like E3 still?
Yeah, for the most part. I feel like I'll say this: if E3 did happen this year, I don't think much would be different. It wouldn't be different than this. This is pretty much exactly how it would go down. Like I think it would be more people talk about like, man, E3 seems like it just needs to die because it's like there's just not a lot of games. I think people would be saying that. And now that it just feels dead and we're doing it, it's like, oh, this just feels like normal E3. So I think that there aren't a ton of games to talk about. The games, a lot of games are still getting delayed, and we're obviously seeing that play out throughout each and every one of these events. And if E3 was here, I think the Xbox show would have been exactly the same, and the state of play would have been the same, and all that stuff. So, yeah, this feels exactly like E3. I'll say that watching some footage of people on Jeff Keighley's show floor, which looks like it kind of takes place in like a space about the size of a large restaurant or something like that. Maybe I'm off. Mike can maybe correct me later.
An old Cheesecake Factory.
A Cheesecake Factory in square footage. Like that's how I measure everything. This is about 1.5 Cheesecake Factories. But like that looked like, okay, yeah, that's like the companies that would definitely just want to show up to a Jeff Keighley thing anyhow, and then maybe a few extras. And if they had to pick between E3 or Jeff Keighley, I bet most of these companies, and this is what people are apparently reporting that when they talk to these companies, is in the future, if E3 does come back, most of these companies say they're just going to keep doing what Jeff is doing. And I think that's because the cost makes more sense. They probably feel like they get a better bundle where it's like, if we show up in Jeff Keighley's show and then we get direct access to a bunch of industry press people and media and influencers that are going to come to Jeff Keighley's small little show, that's probably worth the price of admission, if there is a price of admission at all, depending on who you are. If like you're a big game, there's probably not a price of admission. You probably just get in there for free, and then that's the best deal in the world. So I think that things are going to keep, like, the landscape is going to keep shifting from like our perspective, from my side of the industry, but for everyone at home, it's just going to keep being E3 like it always has been. And I'm going to keep going at E3 no matter what. So, yeah.
Still E3 to me, damn it.
Still E3 to me, damn it. Yeah, AJ, I mean, I guess for you then, like, you're sitting at home watching this stuff, it felt pretty similar to last year, right?
I mean, it was a Sunday afternoon and I was watching the Xbox showcase. That's what I've been doing for several years now. I mean, it wasn't quite as compacted, I guess, because like Sony didn't have their thing as close, and Nintendo, we don't know what they're doing yet. And who was it? Someone in the chat just said, "Oh, Doot says, he talked about missing the days of, you watch like 3 straight days of G4 and watch all these dev interviews and everything." And we don't quite have that, but I mean, there's plenty of interviews and content for you to go find. It's just not in one continuous stream out there. So I mean, it's as someone not going, it's fundamentally the same thing, and that's fine. I like just having a time period around this time, beginning of June, where it's like, okay, hit us with like, the next 6 to 12 months of games. I want to see what's going on. I want to have these conversations and just kind of let this be our time, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, E3 obviously changed over time, where it's like They used to have to try to sell games to Walmart and
they're getting shelf space. Yeah.
Yes. To make this make sense, they're like, let's all just get together in the same place as a trade show, and we'll talk to the buyers at Walmart and Best Buy and Circuit City and Target or whatever, and we'll put on a show for them, and we will impress them and dazzle them, and they will buy more video games in total, it'll as Ronald Reagan says, the rising tide will raise all boats and stuff like that. That is just completely unnecessary now. The buyers at Walmart and Target have direct relationships with these companies now, where people are traveling to Minnesota or whatever to meet with like a lot of like Best Buy's retail facility out there and stuff like that. They'll fly out there and they'll have lunch with them directly. They don't need E3 anymore. And so in that time when like that shift was happening, well, E3 was becoming more and more prominent with the public each and every year, and it turned into this super important brand for acting as a beacon of light each year to say, come pay attention to this, and this is where you are going to find out about new games. And then it probably, instead of like increasing like how buyers were spending their money, it increased how consumers were spending their money and making people want to buy even more video games. And it became beneficial in that way. And now it's just like that, that is maybe slowly fading as influencers become more popular and companies learn to talk to gamers directly, again, like this direct relationship. But still, there is a lot of value in E3. And E3 as a concept, not E3 as an actual event. And I think we saw that this year, that the concept can live on no matter what, and it's beneficial. And we all sort of find a way to thrive on it. Like, we're doing a ton of shows this week. We get a lot of people watching. We really appreciate it. People are here. They're giving us super chats so they can talk about it because they want to participate. And so it's like, this is the kind of thing where it acts as a lightning rod for us to create content and talk about games. And then, from here, we burst out for the rest of the year and say, okay, we saw this and this and this, and we're excited about that. Like, we already saw, like, Giant Bomb. We saw 3 or 4 games today during that trailer roundup that I'm like, this week there's a demo of that. We're going to play something like that this week. And so it's exciting. I'm glad that it's still basically happening. And I kind of hope it never goes away. I hope we never lose what we got this week. Even if it wasn't the best E3 ever, it was still good enough for me. And so, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Okay, let's wrap up. Yeah, I missed One Up versus CPU. I missed the Giant Bomb Nightly podcast as well. If we can ever make that happen again, we'll definitely try.
I missed the One Up Poolside podcast.
Yes,
myself.
Exactly. If I will, I'll do those. I'll take over the mantle for that. And then we already kind of talking about it. If we could get a bunch of people together in a room similar to E3, kind of getting Tam on a couch to talk to people, I think that would be fantastic. I think he'd be really good at that.
That would be so cool.
It'd be so cool. So I think that's the idea. Maybe we'll make it happen next year. Maybe we'll make. I want to make it happen like a Giant Bomb thing. I think we have enough sway to just do it ourselves. So we'll do it ourselves. Damn it. Okay. Well, that's gonna do it for us. AJ, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter. I'm at AdgeGuy. I got a lot of new followers all of a sudden this week.
All right.
It was very strange.
Nice.
But, welcome to my nonsense. You're going to see me tweeting about Disney and food and retweeting political statements. But you can also go to 90s Disney, our 90s Disney themed podcast, where, as I said, Friday, we have a very cool Tarzan episode up now and an interview with its screenwriter coming up later this week. And you can find all the future episodes of that show at 90sdisney.com.
And listen to that the 90s Disney podcast. I really like that show, guys. You guys do a great job with that.
Thank you very much.
Someone said, hey, any predictions for Capcom? I think the reason we're not doing that is because I just expect it to be them going deeper on Resident Evil 4 and Street Fighter 6.
Evil.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of stuff we already know about and them going slightly deeper. I mean, I suppose they could announce like Dragon's Dogma 2, but like
Deep Down.
Yes, Deep Down's finally coming out. Yes, Deep Down PS6 edition. I feel like if Dragon's Dogma 2 was going to get announced like during this season, Jeff Keighley or Xbox would, or the third party State of Play would have been like, hey, put that shit in our shit, like, please. So but I don't know, maybe Capcom wanted to hold it on for themselves, I suppose, but I don't know why they would. Okay. And then is there anything else happening? Christian, where's the calendar? Do we have any other events? Oh, it says 2 events, but it says the June Q&A. So, okay.
Yeah, we do that Q&A. Or you
Okay.
doing that Q&A?
Well, then, yeah, you can get me on giantbomb.com. Check out our trailer roundup. We recorded that live earlier today. I think Jason got it up on the site and up on YouTube. So if you missed out on a bunch of trailers from stuff like Devolver Digital and the Day of the Devs and a handful of the Future Game Show, we watched most
PC
of them.
game.
PC Gaming Show, we could fit in a few, most of those at the end of the show as well. It's an hour. We watch a ton of trailers. We kind of talk over a little bit, but we also mostly are just like checking them out and it's like seeing how we feel about it. I think it's a good way to catch up. So if you have an hour, be sure to go to giantbomb.com and check that out. Just hit that play button or just go to youtube.com/giantbomb. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for sure with Last of the Nintendogs. I guess unless something like crazy happens tomorrow, then I'll get AJ back on here and maybe Mike if his flight is okay.
Mike should be back soon, so
Okay.
I gotta go take his dog out after this, but he should be back.
Okay, well then we'll do a show tomorrow night if something like that happens. Otherwise, catch us on Tuesday for Last of the Nintendogs. We'll do that in the evening. And
Go
then
get your shirt.
Go get your shirt. Yes, I'm
running out.
I'm going to be taking down that shirt as soon as we decide what the next shirt is going to be. We have a couple shirts in the works. There's one that, and we're working with.
I have an idea for a shirt too. I might work
let's
on
do
for
it.
you guys.
I think we'll probably put up maybe one or two shirts. We're working with a couple of creators that have done some excellent artwork. I think we'll probably put the Mikey Vania shirt up next. It looks so good, but I just haven't had time to like really dig into that. I think Mike should just be in charge of this to like take this off my plate, but I got to find the way to share the money with him. I got to set up our LLC. That's what I'm going to do this week. So
there you go.
Find me on YouTube looking up legal advice. That's where I'm going to be. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Enjoy your gaming.
Enjoy your gaming. Batman is dead.
Enjoy your gaming.